Microphone check, 1, 2. What is this? It's the 5'7" assassin in the podcast business. I am your host, Rohan Patra, the Rap Music Plug at your service. The Rap Music Plug podcast presented by QLC TV is the remedy to the I don't have anything good to listen to problem. Through in-depth album and song reviews, as well as artist interviews and general rap commentary sprinkled in between on all of what the mainstream and underground rap scenes have to offer, this is your one-stop shop to knowing what to add to your queue, play next, or pop into your record player. Welcome to the show. What is up, family? Today, I am joined by producer, rapper extraordinaire, Adé Hakim, who, if not directly responsible, is at least somewhat responsible for the current movement of that off-kilter, glitchy, lo-fi music.
No, I'm not responsible for that one. Not the off-kilter, glitchy. No, I'm not responsible for that.
Okay.
I don't know who's responsible for the off-kilter, glitchy, but
we'll get into that. We'll get into that a little later.
That's funny, man.
You, through his work, as a member of New York's sLUms collective, his own solo work, and some famous production credits on albums such as Earl's Some Rap Songs, Adé has been making a pretty damn significant impact on hip hop over the better part of this last half decade. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for the intro, man. Yeah, I'm just joking because all those writer blogs say off kilter, glitchy.
Man, it's tough it's tough to describe your sound. Like, yeah, everybody. I try to use the best possible words.
This hip hop, new age hip hop. That's what I call it in my music. Hip-hop. In my music, I talk about new age hip hop because that's all it is. We're the newer generation of hip hop, or let me talk about myself. I represent the new age of hip hop. I'm not a rapper. I'm a hip hop artist, and that includes visual work, director, editing. I like that you said I was a producer first. That's really interesting because I don't know, man. I just feel like when it comes to journalism and interviews and things like this, a lot of people really fail to represent the artist how artists want to be represented. So it's interesting though. Yeah, I like, but yeah.
Do you feel like what would be your preferred way to be represented?
Just an artist.
Just an artist.
What I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people don't have much respect for quote unquote rappers because it was set up that way. It was I'm from the Bronx, so I'm from the birthplace of hip hop, where you had MCs, where I could also be called an MC.
Yeah.
We have MCs, alongside the DJ, really conducting the party, making sure everyone just feels good. That's what the MC is about, to make, because coming from the Bronx is like, just imagine being in the Bronx in the 70s where all these, it was wow. It was wild.
Yeah.
It was trashy. You know what I mean? The houses was burned down. It was rough. So, those people needed some upliftment. They needed to feel, they had to make hip hop. So that's what an MC was, making sure, they felt good that in that present moment. And rappers don't do that. Rappers boast, rappers, flex, they nuts, whatever it is. And that's just the difference between MCs and rappers. So I know that a lot of people when they go on stage, they play their song. They play their song with the lyrics on it. You know what I mean? And then they just bump to their song and stuff like that. That's cool, but I don't think that's really MCing. MCing is playing just the beat.
Yeah.
And letting your voice carry the whole show. So like that, I like to be called an MC or a producer or just a hip hop artist. You know what I mean?
Word. I feel that. I see that distinction. I can totally appreciate it because I've seen a lot of shows. I don't know how many, at least like 50, 100, whatever. And it almost feels like, as a fan, there's certain genres of music where I don't, or subgenres in rap where I don't really care as much, like seeing something more like I think I saw Future at a festival, like he was doing that kind of thing, but it was
Yeah.
just like practically just going to a club. It was fucking, I had a great time. I was just bopping, dancing, but it's a different vibe when you hear the artist say every single word, you show, display their breath control or their
Yeah,
lack of breath
exactly.
control. It doesn't even matter. Like,
Just energy. Yeah.
it's just energy. Yeah.
You're
Like
right.
I
Nah.
saw Tyler once, and he was, I mean, he actually says it. He has like a pretty like difficult, I think he's like asthmatic, or he just has breath control issues. But
Okay.
man, it was the passion that came out. And then I even saw him twice in Igor, and he actually
So he's
improved
an
quite a
MC,
bit.
huh? He's
Yeah.
an
Oh
MC.
yeah, yeah. He put on a fucking show for Igor. Like that was some strange shit, but it was cool. It was cool. Cool. So I wanted to start first with kind of diving into your beginnings as an artist. So
Oh yeah,
what gravitated you towards making music when you were younger?
absolutely. Yeah. Well, to be honest, I've always been around music. Um, I have like, I would wake up to music. My mom would play, R&B in the morning when I was waking up for school. Every time I was with my dad in the car, he would play some new, Outkast album or whatever it was that he had burnt. So I was just around music for so long. I never knew I was gonna be a musician, and I always thought like I was gonna be an artist in terms of like drawings, because I used to love drawing. That was my thing when I was coming up as like a young kid, like 5 to maybe 12. I was drawing all day. Like I would draw. I would put my homework aside to draw, and for some reason, just music started calling me when I turned into a teenager. Like it was first like jokes, because yeah, I just saw it as a fun thing, and I would tell like my family like, hey, and I would use rapper. I would be like, yeah, I'm gonna be a rapper, and everybody individually, every as I told them, they laughed at me. They all laughed at me because when you think of a rapper, you think of a certain image.
Yeah.
Feel me? Like you think of a certain person that fits a certain image that talks about a certain life that I do not qualify for. I'm from the Bronx, but my upbringing was still different. I was hood adjacent. You feel me? Like
Hood adjacent, yeah.
so like it's it was painful to see them laugh at me, and not believe me, because I really saw it when I told them, when I had the confidence to tell them I was gonna be this rapper, quote unquote. I saw it. Like I didn't see anything else.
How old were
So
you around that time?
like 14, 15.
14, okay.
Yeah. And I already had like a little meme page on Facebook. This when Facebook was popping.
Mm-hmm.
I had a meme page, and I had like a little bit of like a fan base from through memes. I had like original content always. I didn't like repost memes. So people like gave me respect for my original content, my OC.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was called, OC. And yeah, everyone was like, oh, everyone in the family was like, okay, Adé, you have a platform. You should use this to, start a business or something. Like everyone was trying to tell me what to do. And I was like 14, not trying to really make money. I was like, nah. And I just got rid of the meme page. I think one of them got hacked. I was on a couple, one of them got hacked. And then I just kind of lost the passion because it was a little bit an immature version of me. So when I started music, I, somehow, created a musical following like I did, like I had like with the meme page, but it was totally separate. Like I still got it from scratch. I didn't like promote myself on any meme page. Like I had to start from the ground up. So uh, I had this type of like ability where like I would attract following, whatever I would do in the internet, and I wanted to like put my faith in. I would attract the following. Started off making beats, for my raps, really, because I uh I didn't put myself out as a rapper or MC or whatever, lyricist, whatever you want to say. Um because I wasn't, I didn't really have much to talk about. I was still young, it's like still, doing fantasy bars, fantasy rap and stuff like that. And I also didn't have many beats. So when I started making beats for myself, I just kind of ditched rapping, which is funny that you said producer rapper. And but it makes a lot of sense because I was known for that first.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was known as Six Press, and I had, this. I was a part of this community that was like really supportive on SoundCloud. Like it's original SoundCloud OG days. Like the SoundCloud, like the whole layout looked different. It was very like basic, no advertising, no advertisements, and it's just people who were passionate and people who had talent. And I met a lot of cool people. And then I even met, the fellow MC Mike through SoundCloud, and he also lived by me in the Bronx at the time. And after I got affiliated with his crew sLUms, I started to feel more confident in rapping, and I put out a debut in like late 2015, and from then on everything took off. From 2015 to 2016, 2017, 2018, every year has like a stamp of like milestones or something like that was like groundbreaking, and that would help me push forward to the next goal. And I mean, I guess before that too, but it was like really manifesting in the physical sense. Before I was just online making beats, online making memes, homeschooled for all of high school. So I was home all the time. But in 2015, me and sLUms, me, Mike, and Daryl, we was really active about finding venues to perform at, finding connections and networking and all that stuff. And it's easy when you live in New York too, and you grew up in New York, and all these people from little kids. And I was in Manhattan, I was in Brooklyn. We was very diverse. So the connections just came through fast. People believed in our craft. We was real young doing it. It's like 17, 16 and above. And yeah, people supported us.
Yeah, so you were really young when this happened. So did you ever have an issue, especially at that beginning part when you really started to get some traction in your career? Did you ever have like problems with ego? Did you ever get kind of like gas yourself up too much and had to catch yourself later, or were you kind of taking it in
Absolutely.
stride from the get-go?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like that happened around, my ego wasn't about like, oh, I am the shit. Who are you? I am I. That was never my ego. The ego presents itself in many different ways. My ego came out when it was like people were overlooking what I was doing. And it still happens to this day. People overlook me, like it's whatever, because I killed that ego. Sometimes it wants to come out, but I killed it for the most part. But my ego was about, like I did this, that's all ego talk. I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. And look, no one's, like that's all ego talk. So that's how my ego was coming through, because I felt unappreciated after a while, and I felt used and abused and exploited.
Yeah.
And the way I handled it, I was so surprised on how things were taken about, or just revealing itself. And my ego came out in a way, but it was never like a ego where it's like I'm better than these people. I've never carried myself like that. And when I was in like middle school, I was hanging out with the popular kids and the dorky people. Like I never really like judged anybody for who they were, because I wasn't trying to catch up with the image. I was just trying to have fun. That's it.
Yeah. If you never ended up linking up with Mike through SoundCloud and kind of linked up with sLUms, do you think you'd be where you are today, or do you
Yeah.
feel like you'd be doing something completely different, or would you you have confidence you'd still be
it would
doing
look
something
different.
good
Of
in
course,
music.
it would look different because
Yeah.
sLUms' impact was amazing. You know what I mean? The impact on that sLUms had on me was amazing, and I'm pretty sure they would say vice versa. You know, I had a big impact on sLUms as well. I think that uh I think that like I was just, man, how my whole mindset was like, man, like when I told my parents and I told my brothers and my sister, like I'm gonna become this person. Like from that day, like and it's funny, man, because you're from Canada.
Yeah.
I say this a lot in my music. I talk about it every now and then. So people who I guess like know this about me already know. But Niagara Falls is where I saw the vision.
Wow.
It was so spiritual, looking into the endless water,
Mm-hmm.
where I just had an epiphany and a revelation where it's like, I don't know, I just, maybe I was smoking a little weed too, so it was it was a combination of two, but uh I just thought about dreams. I thought about dreams, and I've thought about the moment where, like you have a dream and then you're about to die. And when you die, you wake up. You wake up before you actually die. A lot of, at least for me,
Yeah. I've had that.
like I wake up before, like I'm not trying to see myself die. Boom. But like right when I die, I wake up. And I just had this like thought that like kind of like changed my life. And I know it may not sound so deep, but it was like, maybe it was just like it was deeper than that, but that's just how the thought, that was just the thought that like sparked everything. But I just thought, like, what if that's the life we're living right now? Like when we die, we just wake up into another existence in reality. And I don't know why that chain reaction just started me. It helped me to live an actual dream that I wanted to live.
So you're saying it kind of made you pursue your dream in that way because you thought there'd be another kind of like another existence following this life?
Yeah, I mean, I've always believed in reincarnation and afterlife and all that stuff, but it was just that thought that just helped me break through something. I don't know what it was. Kind of, I can't really just fully describe it, but that
Mm-hmm.
that experience at Niagara Falls, seeing the water crash for the first time, you know, just blew my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't like I think I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, it's something that moved you in a way that you're never going to be able to tell someone else. So I feel
Yeah,
that like
yeah, it's yeah. Words
yeah.
can't describe. This is English. Fuck English. But
Yeah.
so yeah, like I think I would still be where I was, where who I think I still think I would be where I am, but just in a different way, obviously, because I still, like I still took some of the influence and impact from sLUms, and I carry it with me in my new music. I carry it with me, and there's certain things that I still bring with me because there was a lot of good things that came from those years. So
Mm-hmm.
so I'm definitely appreciative. If I would say like, yeah, I could be the same person without, that would be fully out of ego, and I think that would be me sounding a little bit ungrateful for all the times that we had, and just the the ways that they helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if we go to now, like just your production style and your sound in general, at least in my opinion, I find that your sound is like distinctly you. I can give you an example. I was actually listening to Mike's Tears of Joy earlier
Yeah.
this week, and I never actually checked the production credits of that album like at any point
Mm-hmm.
until just like a couple days ago. And I only did it because when I got to Planet, I was like, oh, because I knew you had produced something on this album. Like I was
Yeah.
aware of that. And then as
Yeah.
soon as it came on, I was like, that's obviously you. Like
Yeah.
it's your sound is just so eclectic and like brimming. If you look at like it breathes in a lot of ways. Like it's saying something you don't even need to. Obviously, you're rapping over like you rap over your beats, but I'm saying like you don't even need to because it says so much. I get so much emotion, so much personality. There's like so many little micro chops of different sounds. So Like, how would you describe your sound if you had to?
Timeless. Um, Higher frequency. Um, I think that it's also simplistic at the same time. So, I don't do too much to my beats. Like some of these beats that people love so much took like 15 minutes to make, like very simple. Simple. The simplicity is the best. Like Twami is a producer that I really grew up loving. And, like his loops were so simple, but he didn't do anything to him. You just found a loop that you can loop on for like 3 minutes, or like, honestly, if you want to really get to the point, like 10 minutes, and you wouldn't even know that it was the same looping. Like, so I try to follow his footsteps into making something that could not be annoying when after it loops like 4 times. Like, all right, I get it. Whereas it's like there's little elements in the loop that you don't even pick up until you listen to it over and over again. So timeless, a higher frequency, and simplistic.
Yeah, you're saying timeless. I find that's very poignant because I don't know if it's like, I'm not exactly sure, and I think this speaks to the point. I can't actually ever pinpoint like where a lot of these vocal samples, for example, come from, because they feel like, oh, that's some like throwback, that sounds like some old soul, but then it kind of doesn't. Kind of feels like it's very modern, and I feel like that's kind of exactly how I would describe like listening to your at least the sound is it's just so, yeah, it's so timeless. I can't really pinpoint a specific time period where this is
Yeah,
harkening
I
back
sample
to.
I sample timeless music because I don't sample music that I don't enjoy. I sample music that I enjoy. It may be from the 70s, but I'm enjoying it right now, like in
Hmm.
2021. And to give my own spin in like give my own take and spin and chop the samples and flip it. It makes it even more timeless in my own way with my energy added to it. But the music itself was already timeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because like, man, good music is gonna be good music. Our ears don't really change. You know, maybe culture changes and society changes and pop culture changes, but good music always remains good music.
And do you purposely like aim to make beats that are like by design different from what's out there, because I find it's incredibly unique, or is it just comes natural in your
I
process?
live in my own bubble, so I don't even check up on what people are doing. Like I know that's how a lot of people out in this fucking shitty ass industry be doing. Sorry that I say call it shitty, but I don't want to come through with negativity. But a lot of people in this industry, um, they come through and they compare their music with other people. They compare like, and they're in this like, it's like a sickness. They're in this like mode where they just are constantly comparing and seeing what they do like about people and how they could imply into their own stuff, what they don't like and how they feel. So I don't do that. I just live in my own bubble, and I make music that I found my style. I found what I'm comfortable with, and I just know where I need to grow. I know where I need to improve in terms of mixing and drum patterns. So I do take inspiration from other people. Yes, I do. But
Hmm.
I I don't listen to too many people a lot of the time, because when you're in your mode, like I'm in a mode right now, G. Like I'm in a mode where like like this is probably gonna be like go down as one of the greatest decades of my life. So
That's great, man.
like I feel like, you know, I'm not trying to be influenced by any outside sources. I'm trying to be influenced by myself, and I'm trying to learn from myself. Of course, you got to come outside every now and then to be you have to be in touch with everybody else, and you have to understand where we are collectively. But personally, I'm doing a lot of personal work. So, uh, the question was, can you come back? Sorry.
Like, do you purposely aim to make beats that sound different, or if it's just natural?
So yeah, I don't. It's just
It's just
natural, man.
natural. Yeah.
I mean, I purposely try to make beats like make it. If I dropped it like happiest people for the walk off, I purposely try to make it sound different than happiest people. It may sound like a more grown up version of happiest people, but I purposely made sure that there was certain things that I did differently with the walk off than I did with happiest. So that's what I do. I try to listen to my old music and then find out how I could do it better and what I can improve on. Cause a lot of this shit is just self-taught. No one taught me how to fucking structure a song. I just go with what goes,
Yeah. And you mentioned you are still inspired by some artists, and one particular artist. When I listen to your music, it's not just the sound, to be honest, but
Let's go.
also in how you carry yourself and how like unapologetically your
Can I guess who
actions
you're gonna
are, your
say?
viewpoints.
Are you gonna say
Yeah,
Kanye?
yeah,
I knew it.
yeah.
I knew it. As soon as
Yeah.
you said one artist, I was like Kanye. But yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to
No, I mean,
interrupt.
and you also make rap. Like, I didn't even really, it didn't naturally come to me necessarily, but I was just listening to your music recently, and especially the walk off. You have at least like 2, 3 just lyrical references to him, and I was thinking
That's
like,
true.
and I was like, okay, like let me think about Kanye for a second, and then like it's obviously your music isn't similar in a lot of ways, but there are like just some things, both in how you carry yourself, like I said, but also like yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's new age is the way you put it. It makes sense. It's not like
I've
you're making
always
Kanye beats. That's some bullshit to
no,
say, but yeah.
no, I've been listening. Kanye was the first rapper I've listened to, both my parents, separated, but every time I was with my mom, College Dropout was cranking. And
Yeah.
then my dad's whip, College Dropout, was cranking. They both had different songs because they were both different people. They both had different favorite songs. So
Yeah.
my mom wouldn't let me listen to Breathe In, Breathe Out, like certain songs where he was being too explicit. But when I was with my
Yeah.
dad, he didn't give a fuck. And my dad really liked the last call where he was explaining his story and how he got signed. So my mom really liked workout plans. She liked Jesus Walk. It was different dynamics of Kanye. So Kanye in the early stages of his career with the College Dropout, he had different versions of Kanye that we all seen evolve,
Yeah.
like, and a lot of people say they miss the old Kanye, but I feel like Kanye has always been that Kanye. It's just amplified when you put the money on it
Yeah.
and you
You put the
put
money, the
all this
spotlight. Yeah.
the spotlight and the scrutiny and the shame. But I've always, not for everything, you can't, like, people could easily bring up like, oh, but what about when he said this and that and that? I'm not always gonna be agreeing with another person because I don't put anybody before my own morals. But when Kanye, was yelling at Sway, telling him he didn't have the answers, I understood Kanye. Like when Kanye went on VMAs and told Taylor Swift that Beyonce had the greatest videos of all time, I understood Kanye. Like I know it wasn't the best thing, but like I think it's a sacrifice that he needed to do. I know it didn't make Beyonce feel comfortable and whatever, and people who knew Kanye didn't make them feel comfortable, but uh we gotta, I think we needed that to happen in a fucking stage award like MTV music video, whatever it was called, Music Choice Awards or whatever.
Yeah.
And because man, a lot of people can't tell you what that Taylor Swift song is called.
Oh
And
shit! I just thought that. I don't know what. I know the year. I know what she was wearing. I don't
I mean,
remember.
personally, I watched MTV a lot, so I knew the song "You Belong with Me," but
Oh yeah.
it wasn't that great of a song. Sorry, Taylor, it wasn't that great of a song for me. I mean, I listened to it, but just imagine everyone celebrating. Oh, the single ladies. Oh, the single ladies. Oh, the single ladies. That sounds a little bit more timeless to me. And you just seeing Beyonce walk up on stage dancing, to take that award, I just feel like that would be a little bit more accurate than it was. And maybe Kanye was just drunk, went on stage. It's just it's kind of hilarious, to be honest,
Yo,
because
it's so hilarious,
it
man.
breaks through the narrative of what they do. Like if you think about the Oscars, you know, there's like they were like so anti-black for so long. Like this Hollywood was so anti-black, but they got all their inspiration from black culture and black people. So Kanye being Kanye and not being like a celebrity puppet just clapping for something he knows is not right. In his heart, he went on stage feeling like he could do that because he's Kanye, and you know, take the backlash, but still know that he's right and how he felt. And shit, that's fucking brave.
No, it is brave. That is brave. I feel like Kanye is like, I feel like he's like a perfect representation of like the lack of nuance in our world, because I feel the same. Yeah, I don't agree with a good amount of his stuff, especially the more recent stuff, maybe comments.
Even though the recent stuff, I agreed with him even more, man. Like the slavery is a choice. Woo! That was, you know, I was, you know, because I was really using, that was like 2018. I remember.
Yeah, that was during TMZ.
That time. Like, the TMZ, and he went on TMZ. I think there was such a like mature thing for him to and really strong thing for him to go on TMZ and, you know, be vulnerable like he was in that moment, because TMZ harassed Kanye so much throughout his whole, you know, life, his celebrity life. So he went on TMZ saying that slavery is a choice, knowing that they would only take that audio bite and give it out to people, and people just feel like take him out of context. But what he's really talking about is mental slavery. And I think in the next line he was saying like, we're literally mental slaves, but no one heard that part. No one resonated. No one wanted to resonate. It was a choice that people did not want to resonate with it. And I resonated with it and I understood. So I used that moment in time and that clip to not judge people, but to see where they're at mentally. If people were upset at Kanye for saying that, then I could see that they either take everything from the headlines, or two, they are easily triggered by anything negative that is connected with slavery. And if you know about the patterns of how they keep Black people brainwashed and controlled, is throw them another triggering image or idea or thought that connects to slavery, because it affects all of my people. So they keep doing it because they know that the wound has still not healed. So they keep picking at it. And you know, so that could get deeper. That's a whole other conversation.
That could get deeper for sure.
But like, but I built on that. Going back to my music, I built on that idea because me growing up, like I had to break through so many versions of mental slavery, and you know, like a lot of people in my community or some whatever are depressed. A lot of people are making music and putting their depression in the music, and a lot of people there's a lot of like industry people who are capitalizing off of that depression. And that's why I made Happiest People in the World Wide Web. And you know, happiness is literally a choice, just like slavery would be a choice. So happiness is a choice. You can't control everything that happens to you in your life, but you can choose to decide how to react to it. And your reaction is really how you take control over your life, your reactions. You know, sometimes I react the worst way, you know, but that was my choice to react. You know, if we feel like we don't have a choice to react, that means something else is controlling us. And that's not natural.
Yeah. So I think you're actually saying a lot of interesting things I want to dive into. So starting like going back to that Kanye slavery thing for a second.
Yeah, come on.
I feel like I get what you're saying. And I think that's because when I actually saw that, like, I think I was at home that day and I saw it on Twitter, like he said it and I was like, he didn't actually, I was like, first reaction, like, there's no way he actually said that shit. And then I saw the 1 minute clip and I'm like, oh shit, he said that. But then I'm like, okay, I just don't understand that is literally what he said or what he meant. Then I saw like the majority or all of that, like it was a long interview, like 30-40 minutes. And my thinking is that I was on the track you were, except I still feel like it was more gray than that, because I think I get what he was saying. It's just that because you actually made the point for me, is that the triggering, how triggering slavery is. I find the way he worded that, given his stage, his platform, his voice, was very reckless in a way that, like, because I don't feel like the world got better, or like the discourse that followed it was productive. I feel like people just spent the majority of it hating on him. I was like, okay, even if I get where you maybe we're trying to go, the way you worded it was sloppy, and therefore everybody just hates you. Like, no one's really gaining.
But I think everyone, I think no one really hates Kanye.
They were hates it, but like they're hating on him. Yeah, no one hates.
They was programmed to hate Kanye, because who really hates Kanye is the people who control the media. They program the mass mind to hate Kanye for whatever reason. So every time someone's like, oh, you hear, because I don't keep up with Kanye like that. I'm gonna be real. I just be living my life. You know what I mean? But everyone talks about Kanye when Kanye does something Kanye. You know what I mean? So everyone's like, oh, you heard what Kanye did? And I'm like, nah, and I'm not really trying to watch it, because I'm a person where I'm like, like if you do one red flag, if I support you and you do one red flag, I'm going with my gut senses, and I'm not really going to support you anymore. And usually I'm right, with all these people that do the crossover stuff and then they sell out and all that stuff, Mm-hmm. So when people say, you heard what Kanye said this time, I get a little bit like, okay, if, I'm like, okay, this might be the day I don't fuck with Kanye, but when I tune in for myself and I tune into the whole piece of where everyone's mad at, I take what I take from it. You know what I mean? Where I'm at mentally, when I seen the slavery is a choice, it's not like I didn't think of that before. I thought about it before. I knew about mental slavery. I had the song from Mental Slave Survivors for so long. Like I had that line, we some mental slavery survivors. Yeah. I had that line for so long, like since like 2017, which was before he said that. I've been known about mental slavery. I'm free to do this. I'm not in handcuffs. I'm not, but mentally, if I'm not at ease, and emotionally, if I'm not at peace, someone could control me easily.
Yeah.
Through triggers. That's mainly what it is. It doesn't need to be a trigger of slavery. That's just the one Black people have to get through.
Yeah.
But everyone's controlled through their triggers. So that's why it's easy. It's good to not it's good to understand what triggers you so you can heal that pain.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not saying that Kanye helped anybody heal those triggers by saying that stuff, but I did understand what he meant with that. You know what I mean?
Okay, I see that. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I'm not gonna say like he said it the best way. I'm not a dick writer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So before we kind of get into this whole like some rap song situation, I wanted to just get a feel, because you talked about it right from the get-go when I was kind of introing you. Do you think you're like, so what do you think your influence has been on like the underground scene of hip hop? And do you feel like you've gotten the respect, credit you deserve? Because you kind of touched on all of these things a little bit throughout our discussion so far.
There's a lot of people that hate on me. I might start with that, but I don't lead with hate. I lead with love, so I inspire a lot of people. I've like, there's so many people that like I'm responsible. Like I feel like I helped their careers so much in terms of just support and words of affirmation and just whatever it may be. You know what I mean? I feel like I carry a force where, I've always been anti-industry. I've always been free thinking. I'm an independent thinker. I do what I feel that is right, because I don't intentionally do anything that I know that's wrong. You know what I mean? Sometimes I could be petty, but that's middle school level. Like I'm talking about on the grand scheme of level things. Like I do what I feel is right. And yeah, I have a very big impact on people. Sometimes it hurts because it feels like the game is rigged, and is rigged against people like me. And people put their faith in the game more than they put their faith in their self. And I put my faith in myself. And some people that I help put their faith in the game. So it's painful to watch people bow down to a system that's just trying to milk them and exploit them. But I can't save anybody. So I'm more than just an entertainer. I'm not just here for entertainment. I always come through with a perspective of truth, whether people like it or not. So I think I'm playing my part the best I can. I'm trying to meditate more. I'm trying to just exercise more. I'm trying to take my mind off of social media more because I feel like when we connected, I was on social media a lot that day, saying a lot of hot takes because I love to do that stuff. But I'm trying to focus on my health more and keep myself distracted, read more books, because I get triggered, like we were just saying, I get triggered when I see people who I've definitely helped along the way. Just sometimes I just get triggered seeing them, bro, because people do me wrong, bro. That's how I feel. Maybe I'm taking it personal. And I have a song where there's like a newer song I'm talking about. Sometimes I'm taking things personal, but I get triggered when I see people because, to me, I know they're not keeping it real with themselves, and it's okay because I'm just doing my work and the work that I need to do in my life. It's bigger than music. It's bigger than art. It's the work I need to do in my life because I'm here until I don't need to be here anymore. And when I'm gone, I really believe that, things are gonna more good things are gonna be said than bad things, and that's my goal, to just play my part and have a positive impact on the world around me. If they don't want to accept it right now, that's fine. I need to accept it for myself, and that's how I feel right now.
Fair enough. So then we go now to this some rap song situation, and I just want to, like, obviously jump in or correct me if I'm like not summarizing it, because I just want to kind of get to what we want to talk about here. But so for those that are unaware, Adé linked up with Earl while he was in the process of creating some rap songs. He produced Nowhere to Go, one of the lead singles off the album, as well as a track formerly known as In My Veins, now called Veins. So with Nowhere to Go, yes, he did receive credit for the beat, but the compensation didn't follow as it should have due to contract technicalities. And then the previous In My Veins beat mysteriously was replaced with a Earl produced beat, In Veins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
talk about that.
Yeah. So to start, just tell me how the relationship started, how it was like working with Earl on the album, and just as it relates to the initial music creation process.
Let me start off by saying, man, shout out to Earl Sweatshirt, man. I love that man. Inspired me a bunch. Like that was an artist that I when it came to like following Odd Future, of course, I took a lot of inspiration and production from Tyler, the Creator, because at the time, Earl Sweatshirt was gone, but Earl's lyricism, flow, and vocabulary was something I put on a high pedestal. Like, I thought he was gonna be the greatest rapper. This was before I even decided to rap. So I put him on a high pedestal, and for one day, Mike and I, I was working on the job, not my first 9 to 5, and when Mike met up with me after work, and this was in it's in Manhattan. It's like a place called Soho. It's right by. I used to work like a block from where a Supreme store was, and our future. They always talk about Supreme. Yeah. So I happens to be good in Supreme. But Mike saw him from afar. Like, Mike was like, "Oh shit, that's Earl." He's like, "Let's go and say what's up to him," right? So we like a block away, and then I think Earl starts posting up at a Supreme, you know what I mean? And Mike walks up to him, like, "Yo, man, just want to say, I respect your music, man. My name is Mike. Peace." And then Earl was like, "All right, cool." And I dapped him up too. And then we went about our business and did what I forget what he was originally gonna link up for, but we did what we originally came to do. We didn't fanboy, yo Earl, but we was hyped because we was already making so much music, great music that people still bump to this day. Because 2016 was a great year for sLUms. That was sLUms peak right there. And just to see, to work on your dreams and see people who inspired you, just to see them in like the physical form is a sign. Whether you end up working with them or not, it's a sign from the universe, from the higher powers, that you are aligning yourself with, that type of caliber. You're aligning yourself with that type of caliber. So, because like when I was working at that job, I saw Andre 3000 just standing on the block.
That's like seeing a unicorn.
Yeah. No, actually in New York, it is like seeing a unicorn, but in New York, he was just always chilling, and he was just standing on the block, just like mad tall. From what I remember, he was tall, looking up in the sky with some shades, and I was like, oh shoot, are you 103,000? He's like, yes, I am. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, oh shit, yo. And I told him like my dad used to play his music in the car, and I shared that memory, and he said, oh, thank you, man, that means a lot. What's your name? And I said, my name's Adé. And he said, thank you, Adé, I appreciate you, man. And when he said that, I was still young. I was shook when he said thank you all day. I was like, okay, man, I'm not trying to bother you. Peace. People do that to me now. Like, I'm not trying to bother you. I'm like, we just chilling, man. But he was really just chilling. Like, I didn't even bother him. But I got really, what I was trying to say was, this is too real for me right now. I'm nervous. I'm gonna walk away and contain myself. I don't want to see, But yeah, we saw Earl, and that's what I gotta say. Like, shout out to Earl, man, because before whatever business relationship it was, I used to just be a fan of his, and I've expressed that to him, and he expressed that he was a newly fan of our music too, and we shared admiration for each other. Didn't look up to him because I was my own man, but we both shared admiration for each other. Yeah. And what was the initial question?
Like, how did, just like generally, like how was it working with him? How was the relationship at that point? How was he in the studio? I don't know.
Man, now I got a name drop, bro. Cause man, I wish we could work with him. I wish we was able to work with him in more peace and quiet. Once people realized that we was working with him, more people were kind of like trying to like position their way into being around us and stuff like that. Word. And it wasn't as authentic anymore. We had to like close doors and stuff like that. Instead of working in silence. But I took a picture of Mike Madani and Earl Sweatshirt on the Madani stoop. I know Madani might have just been excited, but he posted it on his Instagram. He posted it on his Instagram. Like, I was like, oh, let's keep this in my mind. Like, let's keep this chill, man. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And yeah, because prior then, only the people who like were really like tapped in knew, and they weren't really gossiping about it. But I forgive Madani though. It's okay. Things happen. After that, it just kind of seemed like, not directly after that, but like it just I don't know, it just wasn't as authentic anymore. If I'm working with somebody, I'm not gonna tell the whole world before I get anything done. Like, there was no music done. And maybe if we made a whole tape together and we took a picture and put it in the world, like, all right, something solidified here. Yeah. I don't want to just be the image next to Earl. I wanted to work with Earl. Yeah. I wanted to work with him. That meant more to me than people seeing me around him. Mm-hmm. But we did work, and I'm grateful for that. And it helped me. I learned a lot from it. I overheard you explaining the story of Veins. I don't even think we need to talk about that, because I already talked about that. I've already made a video about that. It blew up. We got 50,000 views. The biggest.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Yeah, the biggest viewed video on my YouTube channel. and helped me get monetized. You know, got a lot of people upset, industry people. You know, so I felt like even though it helped a lot of people understand a little bit more about what goes on with Sony and the labels, and you know, sometimes your favorite rapper at the time, whatever, it hurt some people too. I can't ignore that. It hurt some people. You know, some people were like, why is Adé doing this? Like, what is the cause? Like, is he trying to slander me? Is he trying to slander my friend? Is he trying, you know, like, why, what is he trying to hurt somebody? Like, what is this for his closure? But at the end of the day, it was for my closure. I think that a lot of people were believing something about whatever this music thing was, these interactions were, that was not true. Like, a lot of people are silent. Like I say, they're silent. They don't speak their truth, and they just play the game. They put their faith in the game. I heard people say out their mouth, "Well, that's just a game." Like, nah, gee, this is my life. I'm not gonna put the game before my life, man. And the game fucks up your mind. That's why you see all these famous people taking pills and going crazy, terrible. Because they can't. They feel like there's no space for them to be themselves, and they have to always be this persona. And some people dream for that, you know, but that was never my dream. Like, I was never my dream. My dream was always beyond that. You know, maybe, you know, I thought like maybe we'll get some attention one day, and that would be beautiful to see. But I always knew that, you know, in terms of spiritual development and growth, I would be beyond that. So right now, what everyone's seeing in my career is me surpassing that, the being validated by the industry. You know, I don't care to be a household name. I don't care. I'm just trying to focus on my health and be the best me I could be. Because if you throw thousands and billions of dollars in my face while I'm me at this current level, I don't know how well I'll do, because I'm not fully healed from my childhood traumas. I'm not fully healed from whatever happened. You know, I'm not fully developed. I'm not ready for all of that yet. You know what I mean? So yeah. So it's more about, my life is more about spiritual development and standing for the truth. With Earl, you know, I think he loved us, man. He loved, you know, me and Mike. He loved us. We inspired him a lot. Mike and I inspired Navy Blue a lot. Word. You know, we inspired those two people a lot. It was to me undeniable, and they would even tell you, you know, I mean, maybe not now because of the political thing side of everything, but in the moment they would be like, yo, like, you and Mike are the reason why, you know, some rap songs is a thing. Like, and, you know, but if you think about it, you know, a lot of people supported Mike and I. So, you know, that's a community effort. You know, that's a communal effort, because it's not like me and Mike were just who me and Mike are to this day. We had to grow. We had to have people support us. So a lot of people supported Mike and I. And then, you know, we supported those two people. So it's from what you just see, it's like it's just the surface level, like an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg. This is a big ass iceberg under the water of everything people see, but they see the surface. And I want to shed light on the big iceberg. That's my hope, because the foundation, I don't want the foundation to feel like they are unappreciated.
Yeah, and I so like I feel like overall, like I saw that YouTube video that you explained this in a huge depth. I recommend people check it out if they're more interested. But
I took it down.
Oh, you took it down?
Yeah, because like I said,
why did I see that? Or maybe someone re-uploaded it, because I did see it.
These motherfuckers.
Yeah. Anyways, like, long story short, my point is that I was pretty amazed by the level of grace and maturity you were, like, the way you were handling it at all, because I was watching it and my blood was boiling at parts. I was just like, I was like, damn, man, this is some raw shit. This is terrible. Like, what do you think? And you've kind of talked about, like, what do you think are other independent artists can learn from this situation? The truth, just understand that's
learn from my mistakes, you know, learn from my mistakes, because not everyone is in an Earl Sweatshirt position right away. You know, you have to be in my position first. You know, you have to be a a person with ideas on the come up, and and when someone wants your ideas, you gotta be able to protect yourself. Like, don't always listen to what they say. They're gonna tell you what you want to hear. They told me, yo, pick out a crib, you're gonna get paid. They told me all this stuff. Themselves, and I believed it, because because to me it was like they were friends at the time, you know, but I truly believe that it was business, but I'm not mad at that. I'm not dying to be their friend. Like, I think they're funny. I think they're funny people. Yeah. Like, we share some laughs, there's some smiles, but at the end of the day, everybody's going through their own shit, and I don't want everybody's baggage. So I'm okay with being who I am, because I got to figure out myself. The whole, selling me a dream is how I made the whole "love is worth my time" hook. They try to sell me a dream I'm not made for. Like, I had that song since 2018. Like, I had that hook since 2018. That whole song was with the idea just started, and I completed it later on. But like, I've been woke up and seen what shit for what it was. It wasn't like it wasn't like I just like made that video to attack anybody. It was like how I've been feeling for a long time. Yeah. And I have this new song where it's like, it's talking about like, I was like a breakup with the industry, and it's like, there's a line that goes, "For me, it's easier to be real. You can't ignore the red flags that people will reveal, because they will hit you with a low blow. This shit is no joke. I had to go ghost." But then this line is where, I'm about to explain it. It goes, "But it's harder when your life's under a scope. So this became between the world and me, like Ta-Nehisi Coates." And Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote the book Between the World and Me. But my life became in the scope, So like, it's not easy to just talk to, Earl or Tebe about this when the damage already been done, because the lie, I call a lie, or let me say it, the illusion has already been sold to the masses, that this is something that's not, you know what I mean? It's something that is not. Like, I wish we were just a little bit more honest. It's just business. This shit is just business. Like, and it's just who can I draw inspiration from? And so when it's like you're under the scope, everybody believes this illusion now, and they talk to people, come and talking to me about a life that I live, like they know is true, and they talk about this name and this name. I can't stand that. Like, "Oh, Adé, I love you," and they say all these other names that I normally get grouped in with. Yeah. And I can't stand it, because they don't know that the triggers of what happens behind the scenes, and the things that I see with my own eyes. So it's like the being under the scope is it's crazy, because I have a great relationship with my fan base. I'm very transparent in everything. It's not just to expose anybody. Like, it's just me being transparent with myself in general. So that was my story. So I was able to share my story. It did involve other people, and I didn't ask for their consent to post it, which I should have, maybe. Like, for example, Daryl, he also was on God the other end of that stick. He was like, but he also got that, like, but he would go about it differently, obviously. But I feel like he wasn't upset too much when I later apologized to him. But and then with Tebe and I, I just like I said, shout out to Earl, man. Like, there's no love lost. I do have grace. You know what I mean? Because I don't put money over my life. I don't put money over my happiness. I'm not gonna die because I didn't get paid from Sony. Like, I still can see the blessing in working with him. I was able to reach the confidence to sell my own beats. I didn't sell my beats. I kept it really exclusive. The only person I was ever getting my beats was Michael Boniva. And I would produce for myself. Everything else I would just produce for myself. So I started selling my beats and I started making a living, and the support was so real from all these beat clients and artists and MCs and rappers, and I was able to save up and get my own apartment. So, you know, when Tebe was like, pick out a crib, you know, you're gonna get paid. Like, it's not like I didn't get paid. Yeah. I just had to take initiative in getting paid. You know, there was no such thing as a handout for me. No such thing as a handout for me. They try to rob me, and the label try to rob me, and I read it in the contract.
yeah, that's a good line. That's a good line.
Yeah.
Word. So, okay, let's now fast forward to the present and talk about your most recent work, The Walk Off.
I'm excited. This is what I came. This is what I came here for. We could talk about it. Let's go.
Yeah. So like, start like how did the creation of The Walk Off compare with your previous Happiest People record?
Whoa. Damn, I feel like I definitely had this. I did a couple interviews because remember I was like, I reached out on Twitter like I need to get something off my chest, and that's why I'm coming off so passionate in this whole interview, because I need to get it off my chest, because I rather hit a conversation with you and I rather than it on Twitter and then people liking it like wars. It's a like war on Twitter. Like, oh, basically, he didn't get any likes, so what he's saying is not factual. It's like, nah, just niggas is afraid. But anyway, Happiest People in the World Wide Web, man. It's like a prophetic album that I didn't even understand. And it was gearing all the mental slave survivors and soldiers for spiritual warfare that we was about to see in 2020. You know, yeah, we gonna get into it, man. I don't even, bro, I don't even know how this shit happened, bro. But all I know is that since I make a little bit more raw music and honest, you know, that like it just me being able to keep up with the times allowed it to be prophetic, because I was talking about big pharma and, you know, Dr. Sebi and all the dreams that they try to sell us, and how happiness is a choice, and you don't let anything knock you off your square. What can they really do to ruin the moment? There's a lot of stuff like putting in a vote will never give me hope. Like, it's just there's so many lines in Happiest People that people, I guess it flew over their heads because there's good production with it too.
Yeah, and it comes off like very blissful.
I wasn't aggressive. I wasn't aggressive with it. And but there's so many lines in that album right there that was like, I didn't even know that some spirit in me was gearing for spiritual warfare. And shit, man, there's so many different I think that's probably one of my best albums, Happiest People.
Yeah.
I think it might be the best album. Like, I like The Walk Off a lot. I do like The Walk Off. I love The Walk Off. I think I'm better in The Walk Off. I think I'm more confident. I think I'm more free. I think my flows were better in The Walk Off. But Happiest People still is my favorite album. There's more it just represented a great time. It was the end of a new age. I mean, the end of an age. You know, or the beginning of a new age, whatever it was. So The Walk Off was supposed to be the reboot thing, the deluxe edition of Happiest People.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it was gonna be called Happiest People in the World Wide Web reboot, and it was let's see if I have it still in here as a background filters. Yep, this was the album cover.
Oh, nice.
Like this. Yeah. So I was gonna be an extended version of Happiest People, or like an annex to Happiest People with like a sLUms feature, a sLUms posse track, and just other songs. Like I was gonna get my dad on a track. You know, it was gonna be to represent, you know, healing and growth, and the reboot was just a play on words like Happiest People in the World Wide Web, but like
reboot the computer.
And you know, so there was Stink Face that was gonna make the reboot, Like Me, and there's two other songs, Mute Button and A World Alliance. So I had to put the tape on hold because Corona happened, right? And also, I was still living with my mom's, and it wasn't really productive for me working in that space because our relationship wasn't the best at the time. So like it was hard for me to focus on one thing, and then plus like they always are gonna see me as the baby son, the child, and uh there just wasn't enough respect for the creative process, and I started just hustling. I told myself, man, I'm not gonna really make that much music until I get my own space. So I just started hustling and hustling, um, and just so I could you know, afford to get an apartment on my own. Um, like really saving and stuff. Like I really never saved in my life. This is the first time I saved. Saving is amazing. Everybody should save, man. That shit is crazy. It takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah, it does.
Um, but 2020, man, I was impressed. I was like, everyone was like, hey, Adé, when you gonna have some new music? I was like, hey, go run up the happiest people in the World Wide Web because those those songs are relevant right now for these times. You know what I mean? And I was just living life. I had the happiest, no pun intended. I had the happiest year in 2020. It was very confusing because of everything that was going on around us. But I had the happiest year, one of the happiest years in 2020, because I was not gonna let anything stop me from being healthy. I was not gonna let anything stop me from being happy. And I did a New Year's show in 2019, New Year's Eve show going into 2020. Uh, I did a show, basically to celebrate the new decade and to lead the new decade with love, you know. And that was my motto, like leading the new decade with love. And I didn't really get that much support. People, not everybody. I thought like it was gonna be a collective effort where everybody was gonna be in love, but everybody is at their own like level. It hurt. It hurt to realize that. But I still had to go hard. Made 100 beats in like 10 days when lockdown first happened. Sold a lot for $100. I did like a sale, so I wasn't gonna go broke during that time. While everyone was losing their jobs, it was so fucking sad to see. My brother, lost his job, and all these people were getting.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, but now he's good.
Okay, nice.
But at the time, it's stressful. Some people just they see their job as their way to get everything they need. And you know, shit, I was seeing that as more sad than the actual virus. I saw that as the epidemic, and that what was the what was creating the depression. I felt like it was more an attack on the working class because uh, all small businesses had to shut down while they were thriving. The Black unemployment rate was at its all-time low during that time too. And I didn't know that. I just had to research that later. But at the time, I still saw it as an attack. And I had to just come to my roots. And I was glad for lockdown because I went to the parks a lot. A lot of people were going back into nature. That was beautiful. And I was grounding, planting my feet into the soil, sun gazing a lot. I took a couple shrooms a couple times, and it was a very, very beautiful early year. And I just felt like I had great energy around me and protecting me around all this chaos. I didn't watch the news. I didn't tune into nothing that was going on. You would see me out with no mask and stuff. But I kept this to myself. I didn't really make it too public. I wasn't doing it for attention. That's just how I was living, and I was happy. I wanted things to open back up because I wanted to go bowling and stuff like that. But that's me being privileged. I want to go bowling. Open up. I want to go bowling. But when the summer came, and then on my birthday, everyone was going crazy about George Floyd dying, and you know, and I was like, damn, you know, it's my birthday. I wanna live peacefully. Everyone, I feel like, you know, I have to give my attention to what's going on with my community. And you know, I was feeling guilty because I didn't want to go protest at first, and you know, it just felt weird knowing that people were out protesting and, you know, risking their bodies and, you know, being maced and all that stuff, and I didn't want to go out. And then I started realizing, man, yeah, this is not my fight. This is not my fight. Like, I can see that this is the reaction that they wanted out of the Black community, and it's bigger than the Black community now because everyone stood for this nigga, man. R.I.P. George Floyd. But yeah, everyone stood up for him. Black, white, Asian, everybody. But to me, it just seemed more like white ally. People were searching for white allyship. I don't know if allyship is a word, but people were searching for white allyship. And that's all it was. It was still a little bit like outside validation. It became about Black Lives Matter. Oh my God. And that sounds like a demotion to me, because in the 70s, they was saying Black Power. And, you know, I come from a family where, you know, they was living through that. And, you know, being African American or whatever you want to call it. And you know, Black Power is like, I already know I got power. Black Lives Matter is like, do I have power? Do you think I have power? If you don't think I have power, Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean?
So is that what you think the protests were about? Was trying to get white allyship? Is that that's kind
of? I saw all the time, silence is violence. White people use your platforms, blackout, all this stuff, right? Because you know, I have a diverse. I follow my following count is very diverse. You know, so yeah, I seen it all, and that's what I believe. And I went to a protest myself in downtown Manhattan. White girls, woo, woo, Black Lives Matter, yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? You know, and everyone's like, say the name, and they say the name and stuff. You know, everyone's like, you know, my face was like this the whole time because I was so upset that.
No, keep going. Yeah, what were you upset about? I'm trying to.
I was so upset that this is what it's come to. I didn't feel like any of this was productive. I felt like everyone wanted to recreate a 60s movement and take pictures. When people were taking pictures, they was like, woo. So a lot of white people went out there waving their little signs for the pictures to post on social media to say like, yeah,
I was there. Yeah, I'm woke. That shit. Yeah.
Yes. And then after, they don't care. They disregard it. Black Lives Matter was on Amazon, Hulu, and then funny, on Hulu they was only talking about Black struggle, you know, and it was everywhere. It was being branded. Our Black blood being spilt on the ground was being branded, and I was like, why would I march? That if I'm marching, I'm validating this.
But do you think that the whole movement or the whole protest movement, let's just pick that time, was just that? Because I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. It was being branded, especially the corporate shit. That was kind of disgusting to say.
I have the song "Proud Black Man" on Happiest People. That's why it's also like funny because like even Happiest People had like a touch of that. It's like Proud Black Man way before it was a trend. They don't really claim Black. They just sell it as their brand.
Yeah, and I feel that. The thing I'm saying though is that like I don't think, especially after, like, I'm trying to think of the exact time, but it was like, let's say early June, the first 2-3, maybe even 2 weeks of the protests. After that, you saw the media stopped caring and covering it. But those protests were still happening like every day. And those I thought were way more authentic and were led by the people that actually are organizing.
A lot of people were risking their lives for something that wasn't, you know, like I understand you know, you want to be heard, but you're risking your life. You're putting yourself in danger, and they want you to do this. They set up bricks. They there's so many setups in this. all as cops were breaking buildings so whatever motherfucking owner could get insurance. Yeah. They could get their insurance. Like it was all a setup, and we was helping them. Because they want that's the exact reaction they wanted from us. They thought, excuse me, they thought that you think that they thought that we were just gonna be silent about that. No, they knew. That's why they show you all these images. They show you the images of George Floyd and stuff. They want to get those triggers out of you. They want during a pandemic, right? A pandemic where everyone's supposed to stay 6 feet. Everyone's marching together. You know, like to me, it was like spiritual warfare. 1,000, 100,000%, 100,000%, whatever. Shit, bro, that shit was fucking ridiculous to watch, man. That shit was fucking ridiculous to watch. And it was saddening to see after hours when the white people left home to go back to their home and talk to their mates. Yeah, that was a really big. I feel like we did something. And then now it's just black people out there getting arrested and maced, and it's like damn. I see more people hurting that way.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. I feel that, but the thing I just keep going back to is what if they didn't do any of that? None of the protests even happened. Like, what would be the better way? Because I feel like there's kind of like a fallacy happening with a lot of this discourse when people are saying, along the lines of what you're saying, that wasn't productive. It was getting co-opted by a bunch of like white corporations and just white people who don't care at all. I agree with all that. It's kind of, though, I see as a fallacy. It's like, okay, all that can be true, but then what else are we, what is the alternative? Because I think the reality is really sad, and that I don't see a lot of fallacy. Like, I don't see a way forward that was much better than what happened.
The fallacy, I mean, that was the reaction, right? I'm not critiquing how people react. I'm talking about my own life.
Yeah.
And my perspective. How people react is how people react. That's natural. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I don't understand why some people decided to react that way. People are tired of the bullshit. People are tired of seeing that shit on their Twitters. But how is that? It's such a fucking plan, because there's a lot of things that people are getting censored for. A lot of people are losing their accounts for speaking their truths, and they're getting taken down for crazy reasons, just speaking their truth. But we're allowed to see a black man get shot, a black man get chokehold on we're allowed to see that. It's like the images that they allow us to see. They want us to see us in this light. I think that more black people are striving than they are dying, but we don't show images of us thriving. They don't show us images of us thriving. They show us images of us dying, diluting. They always show us mixed couples and stuff like that. Like I'm just saying, man, I see it. That's how I felt. That's where I stood. At first I was like, I want to be a part of a revolutionary movement, but then check this out. You said, where's the alternative? The revolution will never be televised. You heard that saying, right?
Yeah, 100 times. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's 101. The revolution will never be televised because it has to be internalized. You have to figure out where your triggers are coming from. You have to figure out and heal that. So if they can't control you through your triggers, then you have power of yourself. If they can do anything and make your emotions go stir crazy, then you don't have control over yourself. I've been there. I've been in a position where people, make my emotions go crazy. I'm just at a different stage of my blackness. I'm at a different stage of loving my blackness. I've came out the womb basically like Black Power. I came out the womb with a fucking fist up. Like, I'm telling you, like, and then I had to realize like how, how that was draining me to fight that way, to fight in a way, always attack my white peers the silence is violence is so hypocritical because people stay silent when the violence happens in their own community. You know what I mean? So silence is violence, and telling white people silence is violence is like, all right, then keep that same energy for everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
You know, so we can easily get distracted.
Yeah. So, this is a good segue into this whole COVID topic, because I feel like what you're describing here is where I feel like we have a disagreement. I feel like a lot of people would have a disagreement. And you're
That's
also
okay.
not, by the way, I'm not trying to paint you as someone who's having, there's like crazy thoughts no one has ever thought before. Like, a lot of people think in a similar way that you are thinking, and they have every right to. So, because what I'm seeing a pattern is like, it's like, in a way, quite individualist, but I mean, I'll explain a little later, but where the thing that you said about Kanye, where like you kind of like were understanding what he was saying and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I find like our disagreement is really in the fact that, like, starting with that Kanye thing, going back to that quickly, is that I feel like we are, and I hope I'm saying this right, is that I feel like we are, and what you're saying is like disregarding the reality. I feel like, because how you're describing with the protests is how you were feeling, and how that wasn't your fight, and how you are at a different point in your kind of your spirituality, and it's very positive the way you're describing it. That is positive. It means maturity and all that. But I don't feel like that's the reality for everybody. And if that is the case, then what are these actions doing? What is Kanye's actions doing? I think that was not a good thing. Just like I do think that the protest did something positive, even if all this other crap, terrible stuff watered it down and all that. Both things can be true. And at the end of the day, although it is programming, and I totally understand that, again, even if people did have, as you said, they kind of like worked on themselves, they dealt with their triggers, it would obviously help things. But where is the material reality change going to happen as it relates to the way like policing is happening, the way that the prison industrial complex is implemented in the United States? Like, how is any of that going to change if people are just internalizing things and making change? Obviously, it would make an impact, but where is the material change going to happen?
Were people fighting for that primarily? That wasn't the primary. That wasn't the main fight to change the prison system.
I would say that was, yes. I would say policing the prison industrial complex, abolishing the police, or abolishing prisons. That was, again, that was part of the main movement, but it wasn't what was marketed. That I agree with. It was just George Floyd, silence is violence, catchphrases. I agree with that, but that's like, you can't say it wasn't like doing, at least had the heart in its right place. Like I said, I don't feel like it had much of a chance, to be honest, given how the media works, to really do what it was supposed to do.
Because I don't know. I don't know what happened. So maybe you could tell me. Did anything change with that industry with the prisons?
No, nothing at all, other than some minor policy changes.
Like what? Do you know?
I'm talking about with the actual policing. Yeah, there's more.
Well, I mean, like with the prison, because I think like the policing, yeah. But I mean, I think the bigger problem is like jails.
Oh, nothing that I know of. No.
So the 13th Amendment did not get abolished, right?
No, it did not. No.
So yeah, that's my point.
But again, like, you could say that, you could make that same point with anything. It's like, oh well,
like what?
The result of something didn't happen, therefore the action was invalid. That isn't how it works. It could just be it wasn't successful because you're going against not just the government, you're going against a machine, you're going against capitalism.
But what I'm saying is that all of these factors that we're talking about right now was used against us, and they wanted us to react that way and flaunt all these stuff and like in our face so we could get emotional about it. It's chess, and we don't even know we're playing.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know what they're playing.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like you're playing into their hands, but
yeah. So I feel like you know how you feel is completely valid. I understand where you're coming from. You know, I understand the exhaustion of the Black community. I know where it comes from, and just people who who are just empaths, all races who are empaths. I know where they come from. I'm an empath myself. I just come from a different understanding right now. I'm coming from a different understanding of a more a broad perspective and widen. Um, but yeah. So you said you want to segue into COVID.
Yeah, because like the pattern of that kind of internal truth that you're kind of speaking about, like all like managing your emotions, managing your triggers, happiness, all of that stuff. I find like there's a disconnect between what is actually happening in material conditions, what's happening in reality, and I feel like that is super
But
applicable to the COVID stuff.
How can you see that? That's what I don't understand. Like, how can you say that I'm out of touch with reality when I'm living my reality?
But that's the thing. Your reality isn't my reality,
That's
and your
great,
reality isn't the
but
collective reality.
I could explain my reality though.
You can, yeah,
Yeah.
but when it comes to other
So
people's actions, that's when you have to account other people's reality, and you think, okay, what am I doing? Is that in touch or not in touch? It's not the right word. Is that going to impact them?
yeah, in
How is
touch
it
is
going to
not the right
impact
word
them?
because
Yeah,
because
because it's not about being
for a
in
second it
touch.
sounded like you saying I'm out of touch with reality because I disagree. We disagree. We have different views, and that's what I. Yeah,
Yeah,
nah,
that's not
that's
what I'm
not
trying to
it.
say, but I do think so. Let me just rephrase it then. I feel like there is a disconnect, not between your concept of reality. It's a disconnect between what you're saying is like kind of things you can do
Yeah.
internally, things you
Okay.
can
Well,
manage, and then how it would
I am
impact the outside world.
sorry if I sound a little defensive, but I am disconnected from a certain part of reality. It's the reality that they sold to us. You know, we don't live our own reality. You know, I disconnect from what the media tells us. Everyone is living the reality of what they got on from the media. You know, a lot of people get their information from the news, and that's the reality that they accept. I accept my own reality, and I have my own understanding, which is so beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe it's not beautiful for other people because they feel like I'm threatening them, whatever. But I know the truth. I know where I stand, so I'm comfortable in that.
Yeah, and I think that concept, what you're describing,
Yeah,
is special. It is definitely, to say the least, uncommon. People are programmed,
we
all
need
of
to
that shit.
normalize that, man.
Yeah.
Normalize individualism.
What is your summary of what you feel about the pandemic? It's spiritual warfare. I just want to kind of like get like just the cliff notes of how you feel, and then we can kind of get into it.
I went vegan. I went vegan, man. I was a pescatarian since 2018, which is when you only eat fish.
Yeah.
You still eat dairy and vegetables and stuff. Vegan is when you get rid of the fish or that's vegetarian. And then vegan is, no animal
Yeah.
products at all,
Yeah.
plant-based. I went vegan, man. I took care of myself. I take care of myself in general. And that wasn't like I wanted to put, no one was saying, okay, guys, let's meditate. Okay, guys, let's drink some tea. Okay, guys, uh, okay, let's really put things that heal ourselves into our bodies. Everyone was saying, wash your hands, get toilet paper, and stay 6 feet. I'm a social human being. Uh, there was one event where it was like 4 or 5 people came through for a holy journal. My brother and I's
Master Holy, yeah.
Master Holy release party, and it was like 4 or 5 people that came through, and it was on 4th of July. Got some fireworks, and we had a great time. It was like the first time I've socialized with anybody for like months.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, we was all like, the conversations was like, the vibrations was up, bro. Everybody's vibration was up, and we was talking about so much. And it was a feeling that I wanted to chase because I was like, damn, like what happened? Like I'm a person who performs. I'm a person who gets crowds hype. I'm a person who just loves interacting with people. I was like, I gotta do another show. right? And me being the controversial human being that I am sometimes, um, I decided to make a mask show that I said I decided to make a mask. I did decide to make a mask, but that's a different conversation. I decided to make a show where anybody who's not afraid of COVID, because there's, like you said, there's some people out there, can come and enjoy some music in a park on a sunny day. And that sounds very harmless, right?
Well, you can continue. We'll get into that.
Okay, so you disagree. That's fine. You could disagree, but that sounds very harmless, But what sounded a little irresponsible on my part, or what seemed irresponsible, was the flyer. And the flyer had a whole mask, the surgical, the regular mask that they hand out for free, sometimes charge for it. And I put a little arrow on it, right? and I know, like, some people could probably thinking, how is this guy laughing right now? Like, how is he laughing in such a serious situation? Well, I'm not laughing because I'm laughing because I should have seen how people were gonna react to that. Like, I should have understood, okay, this is where a lot of people are at. But I put my perspective before I put other people's perspective, because it wasn't other people's show. I created that show, and everybody who was a part of that the bill was a part of that show and was down to do that show. And so that created the whole, Adé's an anti-masker label, and probably has people the tension was up after that. A lot of people, came at me, but everybody who came to the show had an amazing time.
As I expect so, yeah.
Thus came the song Pajamas, but that's another conversation. I just didn't want to be demonized for having different beliefs. I don't believe in vaccinations. I never got vaccinated. I think I probably got one shot, and that was a flu shot. And oh no, it wasn't a flu shot. It was a chickenpox shot. And then what I got was the chickenpox. And I think that was even an accident. Like, my family does not believe in vaccination. My mom was born vegan. Like, everybody was born vegan. Jam. Like everybody was about their health. And homeopathic remedies. My grandmother's ginger tea was crazy. That shit used to make me cry. This shit was so strong. So I've been around people who promote health. I had this one person who was a neighbor talk about, yo, where's your mask, man? And he had a McDonald's bag in his hand. And I'm sorry, he like, he came at me, he was critiquing me, you know what I mean? So I had to come right back at him. Usually I don't do that. But he was like, yo, where's your mask, man? People are dying out here. I say, yo, bro, you have a McDonald's bag in your hand. Don't talk to me about health. Don't talk to me about health right now. And I didn't mean it. Like, it's just like the hostility that people come at me with. I don't come at people with hostility. I didn't say, fucking take your fucking mask off. Nah, I never did that. I simply said, hey man, this is a show for people who aren't afraid of COVID. But it's against the law to not be afraid of COVID, it seems like.
But yeah, I think we need to get into that. What do you feel is afraid? Because you use fear. Fear is worse than the virus. I've heard you say that before. What do you mean by that? Like, specifically?
Well, let's talk about what love is, man. Actually, no, let's talk about fear first. Fear weakens your immune system, right?
Yeah. Stress, fear. It's bad for your health.
Fear, objectively, bad for your health.
Real fact.
Yes, real fact. A lot of people were afraid to go outside without a mask. A lot of people were afraid. I walked down the street, got close to people. That's not, you would call that's fear right there. That's fear. If it wasn't COVID-19 and someone did that, I would think they're afraid because I'm Black.
Is there a healthy amount of fear in your eyes? Again, use fear just because you're using the word fear. Is there a healthy amount of fear? None is, or is there some?
Fear is inevitable. Okay,
right,
like you have to understand what your fear is. And you have to overcome that fear eventually too. You know, to live in fear is sickening. Mm-hmm. But fear could be good for your survival. That's a fact.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's applicable here, in my opinion.
Sure. But what I was doing, people were afraid of. People were afraid of what I was doing. But really, man, I'm living a life that, you know, people want to live in terms of like, I don't have that fear. My mom has a brain tumor, you know, like she's been ill and healing since second grade. You don't walk us outside with no mask on. You know what I mean? Like, but we just come from a different background of belief.
But she's saying she walks with a mask or doesn't walk with a mask?
She doesn't.
Doesn't, okay.
You know, and she would be in the category of someone who isn't or
at risk, whatever.
Yeah, at risk, yeah, highly susceptible. But really, I think what makes you at risk is going to the doctor, because the doctors are the people that you really can't trust. I will be afraid to go to the doctor. You want to talk about fear? I would be afraid to go to the doctor right now.
So yeah, I feel like you're bringing up a good point, because as I think I said earlier in this conversation about nuance and how people are lacking in it, and I feel like COVID is like the perfect poster boy for that situation. Because like big pharma is a problem, terrible. They're throwing antidepressants, anxiety, whatever, millions types of drugs that people don't need just to make money off it. It's the worst it is in the United States because of their for-profit healthcare system. But don't you think that there is some nuance in between that, where big pharma can be a thing, it can be terrible, doctors could be not looking out for your best interest a lot of the time or some of the time, but when it comes to the vaccine to address a problem that, again, we have to be very clear on this. People always say, oh, the government doesn't care about your health. Look at what they promote. McDonald's is still open. Well, let's be real. The COVID's not impacting people's health. Let's just assume government doesn't care. It's impacting their money. And I find it very strange when people act like the government is like propagating something that is destroying their economy. And the secondary part is that they all simultaneously agreed on this one thing. Let's just go and fucking lock down our country at the same time. No instance in world history has all the countries just agreed on something. We are not that cooperative. So my real point is that I find there is not too much of an incentive for the scientific community, and specifically like the researcher people, to do this, to lie, to make like the risk bigger than it is, to promote a vaccine that'll hurt you, or like do something sinister. Because what would their thing be? What would they gain? That's what I kind of want to ask. What would be the gain of the government / the scientific community to promote this kind of like overblown hoax?
I don't think that this is the platform for me to even like go there. So let me just say that I'm Adé Hakim, an artist, a creative, an individual that cherishes his spirituality, right? There's many blessings in life that you don't just get something bad, you know? So I'm a person that works with both and tries to make the best out of every situation. Optimist, whatever, optimist.
Yeah.
So I am not behind the agenda. I don't know what the fuck they're whipping up. So I can't answer that. And if I would go down what I feel like is happening in terms of the research that I just think people should do proper research and don't come for me, because everybody needs to do their own research. You can't take important. What I say for truth. Can't say what I say for truth. I'm going to say how I feel when I feel. But right now I feel like this is not the proper platform to talk about it, because a lot of people are just not ready.
And if that's how you feel, I feel like that's fair. You don't have to be ever compelled to say anything you don't want to say.
Yeah.
then I'll just pivot to another kind of point I wanted to talk about with this, is that when I was talking about that disconnect here, this is what I meant, which is that unlike, like, let me give an example, like something, let me think of, like, okay, if people are either for the ability to legally have abortions and people are not, like people have their opinions based on religion, based on health, whatever reason, it's not the point of this conversation.
Yeah.
So my feeling with that is that unlike being anti-abortion or being pro-abortion, actually anti-abortion, you actually are affecting other people's choices. But let's say being pro-abortion, you aren't forcing people to have abortions if you're pro-abortion. You're just for the idea that you can have an abortion if you feel like it.
But
So
that's
an example
arguable.
of something where
That's arguable though, because you
why?
think about where they put abortion clinics, mainly in Black communities.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
So
again,
it's a subliminal thing.
It is, but then it isn't. It is, and then it isn't. And this is why, because again, we had this talk just earlier. It's that execution doesn't invalidate the point. The way it's executed by a very racist, a very corrupt government. So you're right. That point is true. There is some sinister kind of backgrounds about how they implement things that are on its face. Oh yeah, pro-choice, that's good. It doesn't always turn out proper. So we're on the same page there. But so going back to so that's it. So I would argue, you can have a different opinion, whatever, that it's doesn't really impact. If I think it's pro-choice, I'm pro-choice, doesn't impact someone else.
We're men, man. We're not really supposed to. This is not our platform to be talking about abortions. We're men.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
unless you've personally been through that experience, and
I mean, I don't need to get into that, but my point is that, like, I mean, that's how I feel. So I feel like that's a fair thing I said. But it's the point I'm trying to get to, is that unlike with that, wearing a mask and or following like social distancing stuff, whatever these guidelines are,
sure,
they do scientifically, like, these are real objective facts. They scientifically contribute to the health of other people. And that's the disconnect where I say it's like, you can be positive, you can be like meditating, you can be like spiritually at peace while following. They both can exist, in my opinion. So
sure, no, absolutely, sure.
So then my point is that when, like, taking your example, just because you brought it up about this concert, like the maskless concert, but just in general, if you are to not wear a mask, you are impacting other people. So it's not the same kind of binary personal choice that being pro-choice is, in my opinion, where it doesn't impact other people. It's just your opinion, because you cannot live in fear.
Impacted some. I impacted a lot of people positively, man. You weren't there.
I don't. This thing, like, I don't think
there could be a lot of criticism. There could be a lot of criticism for the people who do things when no one else is doing it. I didn't follow the crowd, but check it out. I did this show, and I like, I got a lot of backlash. I got a lot of shame, and a public shaming, and called a lot of crazy things. But here's the thing: a lot of people started doing shows too. They just didn't advertise it as no mask. But when they were there, they weren't wearing masks. But this is the thing. I'm not mad at that, because I was helping them feel secure in going back to perform. I'm an artist, like I said. I'm an artist, and we need that, and people need that too. Music is only healing. I know my music is healing, and my music.
You think your music is healing COVID?
Nobody. COVID? Let me just say, nobody at that show had COVID. Okay,
that doesn't matter to the point at all.
Actually. Yes, it does.
Why?
To your point, my point of doing that whole show was, if you have COVID, why the heck would you come to the show?
Because you don't know you have COVID.
Oh my goodness, man. Listen, man.
That's the thing. This is the point I'm trying to make it. It's like, because you're making a lot of good points, and I know that you're a good dude. That's why I wanted to talk to you.
But the thing is, because there's a narrative. Oh, Adé thinks him being spiritual and blah 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 is gonna heal COVID. That sarcasm is what I don't need around me. You know what I mean? So, I live my life, and I'm willing to share it with the world. I'm willing to share people. I'm willing to share my thoughts. I'm willing to share my music. I'm willing to share my abilities with the world. Okay, you gotta be able to take it or leave it. You could leave it,
Yeah,
But
and I'm not trying to be like I just want to jump in. I'm not trying to be sarcastic because I literally said that, I mean, like trying to go backtrack. I literally was saying that impacts other people, and you said, "Well, what about the positive?" And I'm like, I am not debating if you contributed to the spread of the virus. It's not. I'm talking in general.
how could I if I don't have it to spread?
But okay, so that's the thing. In reality, these are facts. They can't be like
What facts? From
there's a
where?
lot of actual
Scientific
peer-reviewed
facts?
research. These aren't
Oh, you know,
this isn't Google. This isn't
there's
like
there's
the
sellouts.
government.
There's sellouts that are scientists. There's people in
There
the
can't be all
CDC
of them. This is the
that
same thing
are
with global
sellouts.
warming. It can't, that's the thing. It can't be
I have a
all. And
friend. I have a friend and that has a friend in the CDC, and he said if he told this truth that he would get fired. All you got to do is drink some tea. Thus, the walk off. I'm telling you, Red. I'm
and
telling
again,
you.
I like you said, independent research. That research has not come across my desk, so I can't use it. But my point is that I feel like this way of working when it comes to COVID, something that isn't a personal thing anymore. It's a kind of a collective. In reality, it kind of just reminds me a lot of like what the individuals preached about individualism, and I find this is where
Yeah.
individualism is very simultaneously promoted the most in capitalist societies. And I find
Okay.
we are like COVID showed us a perfect experiment. What happens, like what, let's put people in an opportunity to be cooperative and to be harmonious, make personal sacrifices that have oftentimes, not all the time, very little impact on their life. And I find
Wait, what has
we've
little
failed.
impact in your life? I'm sorry. What were
Like
you saying?
the basic like following of social guidelines and things like that.
Sure, man. Sure, man. I mean, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. You're entitled to feel that way.
And you're entitled to feel
Thank you. I
that
know.
way as
I
well. I
do
know that, and I know
know.
you know that. So
Yeah, I do know that. And I do know that I get a lot of criticism for it too. But it's okay. Okay? It's okay. I feel the tension right now. But this conversation needs to take place. It needs
and
to
that's
take
why I
place.
wanted to have it, because again, I know at no point do I feel like you're doing something purposefully negative in any sense. I don't feel like you're some asshole. I don't feel like you're trying to hurt people. If you were, then I wouldn't want to talk to you. Like that's simple. I mean, what's the point
Yeah.
of talking to someone who has bad intentions? But I agree. This discourse, this conversation needs to happen because I just see that people are equating their own personal beliefs and neglecting the factual. Again, you don't agree with the facts, and that's kind of what I was understanding. If you don't
Yeah.
agree with the facts that this can transmit, if you don't have like whatever symptoms, etc., then at least that explains it. Because if you did, that's where I'm just like, then why are you doing all these things? But if you don't believe the severity due to your own research, then it makes sense. I don't agree with your facts, but at least I can kind of understand why.
That's always been the case. I did
What has
never
always been,
agree with the facts
yeah.
from day one. Spiritual warfare. And maybe people are gonna try to start to clown me and say, "Oh, this guy just keep saying spiritual warfare," because they don't understand, man. I could talk to you. You may not understand, but it's okay. Um, all you gotta do is just breathe, man. If you're feeling like you don't have control over your life, take back your control. Take back your control. Play your part. If you feel like what you're doing is playing your part, then do what you gotta do. I'm playing my part, okay? And I have a lot of people telling me I'm not doing what I gotta do. But how can you tell me what I gotta do? You're just telling me that I'm not doing what everybody is told to do, okay? But I know what I have to do. That's the difference between me and a lot of people. I'm not just an entertainer. I'm not a sellout. I'm not this person who just wants to make money and be okay. All right. I'm a person who's trying to break through the chains of this mental slavery that we're all going through currently right now with COVID used as a tool. So it's okay. People have their own levels of awakening. Okay, I'm at my own. I still got more to learn. Still got way more to learn. I know nothing. I know nothing. And when you know nothing, you set the door to open.
You're a sponge. Yeah.
To obtain more information, and the information that I've learned in the past year is amazing.
Yeah. No, I feel that, and I feel like we've talked about it. I think at the end of the day,
I just don't think the criticism, the harshness is productive as well. Like I know everybody at the show had a great time. You know, everybody was uplifted. Everybody said they needed it. That's positive impact. The people talking on the sidelines are the people talking on the sidelines. Like they're concerned. You can be concerned at home. Who are you concerned for? You don't know anyone's coming. If you know anybody's coming, message them and voice your concerns to them. Tell them don't come, but they don't know anybody. It's all projected fear. I have another song. Don't project your fears on me. You're gonna hear it later, man. There's a lot of music on the way, man, because the gain experience is vital. This is what I needed to do. You know, I needed to be attacked publicly. I needed to understand what it's like to be on the side of misunderstood. You may not necessarily hate me, but a lot of people have been dishing out hate towards me and associating negative things with my name when I'm not a negative person. So if you don't know what that's like, or you may, but I'm saying
I do not. I have no experience with that.
I had to understand what that was like. So I am not afraid to move on. Like I'm not concerned about COVID, bro. I'm not concerned about COVID. And especially in 2021, that was 2020. I'm one of the only artists that addressed COVID in 2020 ever, man. Like I was like, no artist talked about COVID. No artist talked about COVID.
Like in their music, there's a bunch of people that talked about COVID, but not necessarily in the way that you did, where it's direct like that. It's more like abstract.
It's abstract, you know, because they play with it, but they don't talk about what people need. People are in a crisis right now, you know. So I helped some people. There was a dude in Lithuania that I met that came to the Bronx to pick up a vinyl, and he met me without a mask. And he was tall white dude who's, you know, wants to be a Lithuanian basketball player, and we had a long conversation about, you know, just awakening and stuff like that. And I was like, it helped me so much to see him speak to me and talk about just a higher perspective. That's all it was, man. And so I'm able to move people who are able to listen, who are able to be open to a new perspective. A lot of people are just attacking me because it's not the perspective that they was told to see in.
Yeah, and I feel that, and I think
we can move on now too, because I feel like we've been going in circles.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I was gonna just wrap it by saying, like,
but I didn't even get to talk about the walk-off. Like the walk-off is not even about COVID.
Yeah, we kind of just completely go. We can go back to that in
like
1 second. Like,
so what direction were you trying to take us in? Because we was in circles right now, and I
totally. I want to
apologize for the viewers. Okay.
No, it's all good. I just want to just wrap this conversation by saying, like, at the end of the day, we're both humans. As long as we got love in our heart, then that hopefully will guide us, even though we disagree with how like you disagree with my perspective. I disagree with your perspective.
Yeah, but I don't understand. I don't understand like why people come back to love, but then they criticize the way I love. Like people like
because it's not, because again, you're confusing something, and that's the thing I want to make clear. You're acting as if we see this as love or a lack of love. We're seeing this as something that's hurting people because of the scientific things we believe and you don't believe. So it's that it'll never get bridged unless we agree on the facts, and that's the way it'll be, and that's just like how it is. And I understand that you definitely have like love in your heart, and I appreciate that. And I want to move now back to the album, because I wanted to kind of just talk about like what was your like overall overarching message that you were trying to go, like what was like the vibe that you were going with that album, and if it was anything different than what you had previously made.
How do you feel about the album?
I thought it was, I feel like you're right, like in the way that I saw a lot of similarities in the between that and Happiest People, but I found you were more forceful, you're more direct with some of these themes you're talking about, like mental slavery, about kind of living your own truth. And I thought Happiest People, in a way, we talked about it. You were saying similar things, but it was blissful. It was kind of, you could almost listen to it without confronting the ideas, because you could just listen to it from an aesthetic perspective and just.
You.
What do you mean you?
That's your take though.
But that's what you just asked me my take.
You said, but I'm saying like your language though, the language that you're using. You said you, like meaning like everybody. You didn't say me the way I'm listening to it. Because everyone experiences the music differently. Everyone takes it in differently. So that I just wanted to separate that, because I've heard different things, like
obviously
that you said it was forceful for you, but for
that
other
was
people,
okay, and I feel that
I just needed to make that
that's fair. That's fair.
Distinguish the two.
Because the question was about my take. So my take is this, and so I felt it was like unlike the Happiest People, where you could listen to it, again, you being myself, I could listen to it, whatever, without having to confront it. Although I always like to confront the themes. I don't usually passively listen to music, but you could, because it was the tone or the way it was structured was different. With the walk off, I found you had to confront it, and therefore I feel like the impact was different. And I think it was a much more it made me think more than the Happiest People did. Not like that one didn't, but it made me have to really sit with and think about what you're saying, and actually kind of think, oh, do I agree with that? Do I not agree with that? And so I found like it was more forceful that way, but I don't mean that negatively. I found it made a different impact. Definitely.
I know what you're
every
saying.
time I listen to it, I have to kind of confront something, and I like confronting things that may make me uncomfortable.
Can I just start off by saying thank you for listening to it, like, and you listen to it fully, but just thank you for listening to it at all. That was not an easy project to make. Like, it was and when you say things like forceful, like, I understand. Like, the times that we were living in, I felt like I needed to say this, and I felt like I needed to be forceful about it, and for the people that resonate with it and want to sit with it, take it. People who can't handle it, go somewhere else, get distracted by another artist. But like, for that specific album, like, and I have so much more music on the way with different moods. It's not all just one theme. And I'm not just gonna run with COVID all the time. And I'm not just this person, rapper who's anti-COVID. Fuck that.
Yeah, the album wasn't anti-COVID. Like, wasn't the point of the album?
I'm an artist. Yeah, I'm an artist that's trying to capture many moods, and also, I am very in tune with the times that I'm living in. I'm very in tune with the times. I'm not in tune with the system. I'm in tune with the universe, though. And with the walk off, it felt urgent that we must wake up. There's a song on Happiest People that says "wake up," and it's like, I'm saying it in a tone, I guess, like that you said is blissful, but the walk off is like, wake the fuck up.
That's kind of how I feel.
The amount of information that I acquired was telling me that it is not time to lollygag around. It's not time to not do anything, to just be distracted. What are you doing right now? A lot of people are telling me what I'm doing with my platform, but I've always been the person to tell people, what are you doing with yours? Because I have a video on YouTube. You have an influence, no matter what kind of platform if you're Jay-Z or if you're a homeless person, you have influence. You feel me? You have influence. So with the walk off, it was urgent. It's a little bit more urgency, and I had to come with the confidence, like, in certain songs like Distraction, not Distractions, Pajamas. It's funny because that's some of people's favorite song. That's people's favorite song off.
That's one of my favorite songs. It's fucking, I love the beat on
it's
that.
Off. Yeah. It's off. That's people's favorite song, and it's basically talking about everything people don't like. So it's funny, man. It's really funny, man. That whole song, bar for bar, comes at everybody who wanted to challenge my beliefs or say, criticize me. And a lot of people say, Adé, you're not above criticism. Okay, well, you're not above the criticism. I'm gonna criticize your criticism. I'm criticizing people's criticism. Okay.
Anybody's allowed to do that.
So a lot of that there was a little bit of frustration in the walk off, but that's because we all were tuned into election. That's because we all was tuned in. Like everybody was tuned into that stuff. I was very like tuned into what was going on in 2020, and when usually I just tune out, I was tapped in, and uh, so it just represents a part. It just represents a time where, you know, all this pain, all this baggage, you know, all the problems that we're running away from, just gotta let go. Don't run, just walk. Just walk. And it connects with spiritual warfare, is why it's a current theme. I didn't talk about it too much in the actual album itself, but I was talking about it came up a lot in like my live streams or, you know, conversations. Spiritual warfare is a real thing. And if you don't know what spiritual warfare is, for anybody listening, and how I will break it down, you know, because I'm not an expert, but spiritual warfare to me is something that's taking place in another realm that's not in this 3D realm. So what happens, I've seen things like I've seen people like go through things sometimes in my life where, you know, they, you know, sometimes someone would smoke some weed and then there was someone like had a acute delirium. I think that's what's called, acute delirium, where it's like kind of almost like a seizure.
Oh, okay. I feel you.
And so they would smoke weed and then they would start moving, right? And then they became hospitalized. And what they said they saw during that moment, when we saw them moving and their bodies squirming around, they saw like different dimensions and different things taking place. And that shook me. This was like years ago, but it opened my eyes in a sense to realize like that things are not just, there's so many things taking place at once. There's so many different realms. There's so many different dimensions that we don't really know how to tap into because we just see this 3D sense. And there's right now, I believe that there's a spiritual warfare, and the war is like on our, like we're being used against it, because, you know, our spirits in these times is 2020 awakening. We're trying to wake up. Our spirits are trying to, you know, our souls are trying to wake up, and the media, everything that's material and all these distractions are keeping us in this mental slavery and these chains in the mind. And, you know, it's not just Black people, it's everybody. You know, anybody could qualify to be a mental slave. So we got to break out of this. But, you know, towards the end of the project, I realized, you know, now in my life right now, I realize, you know, I can't save anybody. I can't. And maybe the, you know, the tension that you was feeling, you know, when we were just going through back and forth, wasn't the tension that I currently feel right now. That was me tapping into the tension of those times. You know what I mean? Like right now, I have more of a peaceful understanding of people are at where they're at. People are at where they're at, and you can't save them. It's like, shit. What's the line? I see they sold out to the simulation, so all that shit talk ain't intimidating. Slavery's a choice word to my Haitians. I want to wake them up, but I can't save them. All we need is love. All we need is patience. And you know, I've made that verse at the like that's the first song song in the album, but that song was completed towards the end of the project. So you know, I did. You have to go through another awakening to realize, like, man, I want to be this, you know, helpful person to people. I want to be this like type of like messenger of truth for people, but not everybody is here to receive it. And I had to accept that everybody has their own reality, like kind of like what we were talking about, and that my message of truth is going to help who it needs to help, and who it needs to help first before anybody is myself. It needs to help myself. So I think individualism is good, and for that reason, because, you know, it was stressing me out so much that I felt like I didn't want to see my people have to wear a mask and have to be. That's just the truth of it. I just didn't want to see people have to suffer. That's really all it was. I didn't want people to see. I didn't want to have to see people suffer, and through my beliefs, I felt like they didn't have to suffer. They accepted that they had to suffer, like for these times right now. Thank you so much. And uh so, my intentions were well, but the way I was going about it, like you said, may have been a little bit forceful, and I can totally admit that. I could totally admit that. Just about how I was using my voice, but will I take it back? No, I feel like I needed to shake up shit a little bit. I feel like I really did need to shake up. Like, I feel like I'm here for that reason. Next time, if it is necessary for me to speak on anything that I feel that may be different from the rest, I'll approach it differently. And I'll try to really meditate on how to communicate it so it doesn't get taken out of context. Like, I'm already worried that some of the things we said in this interview right now is going to get taken out of context, and it's not going to serve people more than I want it to serve people. I want this interview to be beneficial. I don't want it to just be used against me. So for the future, I want to just meditate on how to communicate these things better, because I know where I stand. Mm-hmm. I know where I stand. And yeah, it's just also another album just to feel good. Like, this is a like a aggressive. I don't say forceful. I can't force anybody to do anything, but I would say it's aggressive. It's definitely aggressive.
Yeah, maybe aggressive is the better word there.
There's more aggression in the tone.
Yeah.
And I think people weren't expecting that. But I think every time I make an album, people are not expecting what I'm about to give them. And that's what's good about me being an artist. Like, I'm an artist before I'm a person. And that's what they should focus on.
And you brought me to my next question here, is like, how do you think the walk-off is gonna kind of like help you build for the next project that you're gonna be working on or already working on?
The next project already has 20 tracks finished. Like, it's already pretty much done, man. Like, and then I have another 4-track EP. I have other. I'm working because I'm working on myself, and it's not about, how am I gonna come back from this? It's about literally me tapping into how I feel, how the music makes me feel, and what I should speak on, and what tone I should use for certain tracks. The next project, I guess, will be a little bit more for the introverts.
Word.
Which I feel like a lot of my music is for introverts, for introverted people. Maybe the walk-off was a little bit extroverted though. But every like, On to Better Things was very introverted and stuff like that. So Sunny Path was based off being introverted. This one is tapping back into the introverts. Like, it's for the introverts, and but it's also for you to meditate too as well, because the beats are dope. There's a 4-track EP that's also that should be coming this month if everything goes well. And that music is kind of like it's just music, man. Mm-hmm. I don't really know how to describe it. It's just what it is. But there's so much music coming, and the walk-off didn't I guess the walk-off just had to come in between all of this music that's about to come. And a lot of people said things like, yo, this guy is never going to have a career, or he's never going to make music. After I said, after they see my beliefs and stuff like that, they heard the walk-off, people like, this is the last album people will ever listen to. I highly disagree with that. I really don't think that that's the case. Like, I think that the haters made themselves more known than the supporters, and I believe them. And because but the support is not always, hey, I'm supporting you. Mm-hmm. The support could be like, that guy right there. Oh yeah, I see that guy right there. You know what I mean? But the haters are like, I'm hating you. You know what I mean? Like, they maybe it was always there, but they made themselves known for this one. It's like, now's our time. We can hate. So yeah, I had to see who my real friends were. I had to see who the real supporters were and distinguish the two. The walk-off, some fans called it the fuck off. They call it the fuck off, man, because they were like, that's the energy that I have. It's like, hey, this is how I feel, and if you don't agree, fuck off. And I understand what they mean. In a sense, it's a little bit divisive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because it's like I'm like you said, there's a lot of you have to confront.
Yeah,
you have to confront yourself a lot with, hey, do I agree with this? How do I feel about it? Oh, you start self-reflecting a lot, which is great. That's great. But some people don't want to do that, so they like no. So it becomes a side and political. Do you like Adé? Or you like Adé? No, I only like Adé for his beats. It's like so. It's like kind of weird. It's like damn. If I talk to my wife about this, she'll be like, "This is what goes on. Like, what the like? This is the life you live." You know what I mean? Because like I'm literally a person who's not a sellout. I make music, and I'm who I am.
Yeah, I feel that, and I think like the confront. That's what I definitely really appreciate the most about the walk off. Outside of the aesthetic things, I liked obviously production, rapping, flows, shit. Was that fact of confronting, because that's why. Even though I agree, yeah, maybe our conversation was kind of going in circles about that whole COVID shit. Like,
that's what COVID's meant to do, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
no, excuse me.
What?
That's what politics is meant to do.
Make
Keep you going in circles, and I don't like that. It's not a good feeling. We always feel drained at the end of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, political discourse is honestly pretty toxic a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I still wanted to have the conversation, because as long as the people are two honest actors, they're not like have any other intent, then yeah, you can learn something. And again, I didn't expect anything different really in reality to happen. I just wanted to kind of hear your perspective, think about it, challenge how I currently feel, and kind of show that and share that, because I think people again, because people feel like how you feel, people feel how I feel, and I think they're both like people. We're gonna have to make their own decisions. So I think it's healthy like, to have that kind of discourse.
Before we set up this interview, and you were saying, hey man, I'm not gonna try to talk too much about COVID, and I said talk about it, man. I really meant talk about it, because I'm not trying to silence how you feel. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to express how you feel, that's fine. So I think it's important that you share how you feel, and it's okay. It's okay for you to not understand where I come from. You know what I mean? Or it's okay for you to try to understand where I'm coming from a little bit more if you don't fully understand. But I think it takes time to really understand. A lot of people don't understand, and it's frustrating to them. Like, they don't understand where I come from, and then they bunch me with a category of people like whatever it may be, like there's some people that are not intelligent that don't like COVID, and then people throw me in that category like, oh yeah, Adé's just one of these people, but it's like, nah, I have my reasons.
Yeah. All right, man. I mean, I think I wanted to just kind of wrap this up by first. I know you said you had some sneak peek of some new music you wanted to check out, so I wanted to see like how you wanted to show that, and then the other was just kind of like what are your plans? I think you already kind of talked about though. You have an EP coming hopefully this month, and then a new project coming out sometime in the near future. I don't know if you have more details on that, but yeah, what's the new music you have?
It's that feeling when you get up out the struggle, overcome your fears to focus on your hustle. Got heavy responsibilities that I juggle, but I'm still gonna be the man I wanna be in double. Some people looking for a dream they can smuggle. They try to make me flinch, but I didn't move a muscle. It's my highest self speaking, without the muzzle. The positive seeds started sprouting like some Brussels. Looking within, it's confiding and it's trustful. I know my true power, you don't wanna meet the knuckles. Got love for my people, keep them out of trouble. They say strap for protection like seatbelt buckles. Many changes that I need to readjust, so I had to play the cards right. Couldn't ask to reshuffle.
Yeah, that's it.
That shit was hot, man.
Thank you,
Junior. I fucked with a heavy. You were in a nice ass pocket there.
Yes, that's the plan, man. That's the plan from here on. Thank you.
All right, man. Is there anything else you wanted to kind of say before we wrap?
Yeah, man. I'm always here to help and do the best I can. So whatever you need from me, whatever it is, if I'm able to help, I will be there. And that includes features, beats. I sell all of those. If you need some advice, reach out on the DMs, whatever it may be. I could try my best to help you, my G, and everybody else that's listening. Um, so if you got this far, appreciate you guys. And thank you for tuning in, and yeah, go support my boy.
Appreciate that, man. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I think this was a really interesting discussion, and I hope people kind of take whatever they want from it, and yeah, listen to the walk off, listen to Happiest people, and yeah, just live a good life, be happy.
Be happy, stay healthy. It's love.
Peace out.
Peace.
Take care, man.